On the next Arizona Horizon, a corporation commissioner explains why it's time for competition among electricity providers and why Arizona tourism is at a record high. Those stories on the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Mark Tarbell. Join me for an all-new episode of Plate and Pour. This week, we'll get smoky at Little Miss Barbecue in South Phoenix. And we'll stay in Phoenix to see what's on the wood-fired grill at Dry. All this and more. So don't miss the next episode of Plate and Pour, tonight at 7, only on Arizona PBS.
On Masterpiece.
I'm going back to New York, but I want you to come in.
This is not a cause. This is a business.
I can't do what you've done.
There's just you, me, and your brother. That's it.
We're here to make an arrest, madame.
The Collection on Masterpiece.
Tonight at 8 on Arizona PBS. Thanks for watching Arizona PBS, a viewer-supported community service of Arizona State University.
Arizona PBS deeply appreciates every gift we receive, and we are proud to honor our Executive Society. These supporters believe in the mission of public television and are making a real impact in our community. If you would like to join the Executive Society, please call the number below or log on to azpbs.org to join. Thank you.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.
Hi, I'm Dr. Terry Woodbeck. Adverse childhood experiences can last a lifetime, but they don't have to. You can help break this cycle of neglect and abuse. Visit azpbs.org/strongkids.
Arizona PBS celebrates a moment in time, made possible by the Linkous Group, a registered financial advisor. The Lowell Observatory has uncovered many hidden treasures amongst the stars, from the discovery of Pluto to the rings of Uranus. The observatory has stood the test of time and continues to scan the skies today.
Coming soon to Arizona PBS.
Washington Week is an island of civil discourse in a chaotic media environment. On Friday night, we gather the best reporters in the nation and have a conversation that's about informing the American people.
Washington Week.
All new Friday night at 7 on Arizona PBS.
From the Cronkite Studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Wrong way crashes, a frightening reality unfolding far too often on Arizona roads. The shocking stats and how you can protect yourself.
Plus, after a 2-year battle, we explore how environmentalists feel about a judge blocking construction on a local copper mine.
And the Arizona Cardinals back on the field, gearing up for the NFL season. We've got your front row seat to all the action.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Gabriel Moreno.
And I'm Sabina Zovchik. Thank you for joining us. Our big story tonight, wrong way drivers. The issue continues to come up here in Arizona.
Just 2 days ago, a 20-year-old woman was killed after a wrong way driver crashed into her on the Loop 101 near Union Hills Drive.
Cronkite News reporter Bain Froney is live in the control room. She spoke with the Arizona Department of Public Safety today to see what drivers can do to protect themselves from wrong-way drivers. Bain?
According to the Arizona Department of Public Safety, there's been over 1,000 reports of wrong-way driving in 2019. Of those, 1 to 3% ended in a crash. The Arizona Department of Public Safety says they receive 140 reports of wrong-way drivers on state highways and interstates per month. So far this year, 15 people have died. And 99% of all wrong-way driver crashes are due to alcohol or drugs, according to DPS. Officials say it's time to get angry.
We want the public to get up in arms about this issue. We need your help. We need you to take the keys away from these would-be drivers. If you don't take their keys away, or call 911 so that we can come help you take these keys away, we're going to end up conducting a next of kin notification at your doorstep in the wee hours and to let you know that a family member has caused some major incident where he or she may not ever be coming home again or causing that death for someone else.
In the past 8 months, 70 drivers have been arrested.
If you're the at-fault driver, if you drive impaired and you drive wrong way, if you hurt, if you kill anybody, if you survive, you've ruined your life. You've lost your life also because you're going to be behind bars. These incidents are being taken and charged as homicide, second-degree murder.
Arizona Department of Transportation sent out a news release stating, "It's important to note that wrong-way technology, including thermal cameras, cannot prevent someone from being a wrong-way driver, nor is it designed to physically prevent crashes." Raul Garcia of DPS urges drivers to always be alert behind the wheel.
Avoid distractions. Understand that most of these wrong-way incidents occur on the left side of the highway.
According to DPS, the majority of these incidents happen at night between 10 and 5 a.m. In the control room, Bain Froney, Cronkite News.
2 prominent gun control organizations announced today they'll host a forum for Democratic presidential candidates in Las Vegas to discuss gun violence. It will take place on October 2nd, the day after the city marks the 2nd anniversary of the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords took to social media saying the forum will be the first of its kind for presidential hopefuls. Giffords, who was shot in the head in a 2011 mass shooting in Tucson, went on to say the forum will give the candidates an important opportunity to talk about how they're going to make the country safer.
Last night, 10 Democratic presidential hopefuls spent 3 hours trading ideas, challenging hard topics, and jabbing at each other.
Their target, for the most part, was frontrunner Joe Biden.
It didn't take long for Senator Kamala Harris and the other Democratic rivals on stage to pounce on the former vice president.
But Biden came swinging, slamming Harris' health care plan and bringing back one of his old catchphrases.
This idea is a bunch of malarkey, what we're talking about here. I don't know what math you do anywhere in California, but I tell you, that's a lot of money.
But Biden wasn't the only one taking jobs from the other contenders. Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard slammed Senator Harris's record as a prosecutor.
Put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
The debate came one night after the same setup with 10 other Democratic presidential hopefuls.
So we want to hear from you now. In your opinion, which presidential candidate won this week's Democratic debates and why?
Mary says Warren. Best ideas and how they could be accomplished.
Gail says Sanders and Warren with an honorable mention to Williamson for going deep.
And Adonia said Trump. The Democrats are out of their ever-loving minds. Seriously, where do they find these people?
It's not too late to join the heated debate. Just go to our Cronkite News Twitter and Facebook pages to chime in.
Tonight in Tempe, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren will hold a town hall meeting at the Marquee Theater. Warren, a top-tier candidate for the Democratic presidential campaign, is here to present her case to Arizonans. The event begins at 6:15 and Cronkite News will be there. Tune in tomorrow night at 5 for the top takeaways.
Well, check this out. Coconino County officials are testing drones for ballots in the Grand Canyon to make voting more easier for members of the Havasupai tribe who live deep within the Grand Canyon. According to KNAU, ballots have been hiked out of the canyon or packed by horses and mules in the past. But county officials are working with the sheriff's office and the tribe to test out the drone's viability to deliver and return ballots for the 2020 election. They've even asked the FAA for permission to fly the drones into and out of the Grand Canyon on Election Day.
Construction on the new Rosemont copper mine south of Tucson was slated to begin today. But what would be the country's third largest copper mine has been put on hold. Cronkite News reporter Amanda Slee joins us to explain why.
U.S. District Judge James Soto's ruling overturns the U.S. Forest Service decision to approve the open pit copper mine back in 2017. In the judge's ruling, he questioned how the Forest Service justified approving the Rosemont mine using the 1872 mining law. The federal law grants people the right to go on public land to prospect and establish a valid mining claim. The Sierra Club, along with several environmental organizations and tribes, sued to stop the mine, claiming the land is important to both wildlife and people.
It's pretty clear that this proposed mine would have a significant impact on water, significant impact on habitat, and would certainly destroy an area for its recreational and scenic value.
The Santa Rita Mountains, where the mine was proposed, is home to the only wild jaguar verified to live in the U.S. Hudbay Minerals, a Toronto-based company, wants to put the $1.9 billion mine in that area.
The judge has completely thrown out the Forest Service permit, so the mining company no longer has a valid permit to mine. And they will appeal, almost certainly, but this is a huge victory.
Hudbay Minerals, in a news release on their website, stated, Hudbay believes that the court has misinterpreted federal mining laws and Forest Service regulations as they apply to Rosemont. As such, the company will be appealing the court's decision to the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. We also reached out to the U.S. Forest Service, but they declined to comment on pending litigation. In the newsroom, Amanda Slee, Cronkite News.
The Arizona Coyotes held a news conference today to introduce their new owner at Gila River Arena. Alex Morello is the first Latino majority owner in the NHL. He was joined by Coyotes CEO Aaron Cohen, General Manager John Chaika, and his family. Morello has been trying to own a sports team for some time, but ran into complications because of his involvement in Nevada's gaming industry. Now he's finally able to own a sports franchise, and he intends to keep the Coyotes in Arizona. After finishing 3-13 last season, the Arizona Cardinals have made a complete overhaul with a new head coach and a rookie quarterback.
And the buzz is all about their high-flying offense. Reporter Kyla Walter went to training camp to check out these changes. What can we expect this season from this Cardinals offense, Kyla?
Now, this is definitely a year of possibilities, a lot of question marks, and a lot of potential. And with the Cardinals in their second week of training camp and their first preseason game coming up in a week, the team looked for leadership from their new head coach and quarterback. For the Cardinals, rebounding from a 3-13 season required some new faces on offense. At training camp on Wednesday, the spotlight was on #1 overall draft pick Kyler Murray, preparing for his NFL debut at quarterback.
Kyler is a very cerebral player, very smart young man, so he understands if there's anybody you're going to take knowledge to and soak it up, that's the guy.
First-year head coach Cliff Kingsbury is transitioning from a stint at Texas Tech University, where he was known for running the high-powered, up-tempo air raid offense. Now he hopes to blend some veteran talent, like 11-time Pro Bowler Larry Fitzgerald, with fast-paced Murray.
You know, it's a new offense for Larry, and I think he wants to see it from Kyler's eyes and his view and learn the way Kyler's processing it. And so I think it's been a lot of really good back and forth between those two guys.
Former Arizona State running back DJ Foster is in his third season with the Cardinals. As a player who's seen a different offense every year in the pros, Foster says this group has real promise.
New coaches, new faces, new players, so it's kind of starting from square one, but it's exciting. You know, a lot of guys have a lot of energy, trying to go prove themselves and make the team.
Foster can see action at both running back and wide receiver. Having Kingsbury in control has helped him grow in his multiple positions.
It's been great, an offensive-minded coach, and me being an offensive player, it's awesome to pick his brain and see how he runs his offense, and you know, just the whole dynamic of it has been fun to learn so far from him and be a part of.
With such significant changes, there's excitement around the team, thanks in large part to the dynamic Murray. All eyes are on the Cardinals, even the national ones.
What we've seen the first week of training camp is something that is probably not abnormal for him. I think it'll be different once we start seeing live competition in the preseason games and, of course, week one. But everything that we've heard about Kyler Murray certainly lived up to the hype here so far in training camp.
Murray, Kingsbury, and even veteran newcomer Terrell Suggs have spurred hype around the team. For the offense, living up to expectations means keeping everyone guessing what the Cardinals will do next.
You just have to know the offense, you know, across the board and just be ready for anything. You know, anything can be called and thrown your way, so keeps you on your toes, and that's the whole point. If it keeps us on our toes, we're keeping the defense on their toes.
The Cardinals will try out their new offense at their first preseason game next Thursday when they host the Los Angeles Chargers at State Farm Stadium. In the studio, Kyla Walter, Cronkite News.
It was known that healers at the time would prescribe mummy powder of some kind to you. If you had a headache, some mummy skull.
Coming up next on Cronkite News, mummies helping scientists unravel age-old cures for modern-day diseases.
And what if simply moving to a different zip code once you reach retirement could add years to your life? That story and more after the break.
All of its children had come to the Mother Church of Country Music. It was almost like a badge of honor that you had to bring your culture with you to the table. That's why Bob Wills and his guys brought us Western music. That's why Hank Williams brought the South with him from honky tonks. Johnny Cash brought the black land dirt of Arkansas. Bill Monroe brought music out of Kentucky, bluegrass music. Willie Nelson brought his poetry from Texas. Patsy Cline brought her heartache from Virginia. I mean, it was the most wonderful parade of sons and daughters of America that brought their hearts and their souls and their experiences, and it gave us a great era in country music.
In the modern world, you can see mummies displayed at museums, but did you know in the past they were used as medicine to treat diseases?
Now, scientists analyze them to learn more about how they lived and what kind of diseases they dealt with, and also to find cures to illnesses, one of which is tuberculosis.
Mummies. To some people, they're a source of disgust. To others, they are objects of fascination. In 17th century Europe, they're also, believe it or not, a source of medication.
It was known that healers at the time would prescribe mummy powder of some kind to you. If you had a headache, some mummy skull. You had a stomach ache, some mummy stomach. Mix it with a little blood and you're good to go.
In past centuries, mummies were not handled respectfully or kept in museums. Thankfully, that culture of exploiting mummies is over. Now, museums like the Arizona Science Center want visitors to see that mummies are precious. They teach us how humans lived and died throughout history.
We could learn about their way of life, about their diseases. For instance, Michael Orlovich here, he died because of tuberculosis.
Tuberculosis bacteria is evolving and still affects millions of people. It usually affects the lungs and spreads through coughing. Tuberculosis remains a threat today, even though there have been centuries of research looking for ways to stop the disease.
The diagnosis itself is difficult. We cannot distinguish very easily between latent tuberculosis, which is not infectious, and active tuberculosis, which is infectious, and we can't tell of those latent cases which one of those are eventually going to become active cases. That would be tremendous.
Like many bacterial infections, tuberculosis is evolving resistance to antibiotics. Those medicines are also painful and expensive. Current skin and blood tests for tuberculosis can't tell if an infection is active or latent. To confirm that diagnosis, doctors use X-rays and spend weeks growing cell samples from lung mucus known as sputum. Sputum samples take time that vulnerable patients cannot afford. Tuberculosis test technology will need to evolve faster if we're going to have a chance of beating the evolution of tuberculosis itself.
The present day tuberculosis bacteria are completely different, more resistant against the antibiotics which we use. We can study the evolution of the bacteria, how the DNA and the cells, almost cells because they are pre-cell bacteria, how it developed during the time of the 200 years.
Eating mummies as medicine was a terrible idea, but researching mummified germs inside human mummies turns out to be very helpful for fighting modern diseases. Hopefully, with a little more research, all tuberculosis bacteria will one day become nothing more than a frightening relic of the past.
Tuberculosis is not common in the United States, but the threat is still there. With the advances of innovative technology, they can now detect tuberculosis in 4 hours through a rapid blood test, which scientists hope to use to treat the disease in developing countries.
When we get heartburn, we usually get relief from over-the-counter prescription drugs. But did you know that some of these medications can actually cause allergies? That's according to a new study that appeared in the journal Nature Communications. It says that our stomachs have a delicate balance of acids and enzymes, so some antacids can throw off our immune systems, triggering an allergy that wasn't there before. Antacids are linked to an increased risk of stroke, kidney failure, and early death. So researchers say some people should avoid them or just stop eating foods that cause indigestion. The average American can expect to live about 78 years depending on factors like income, race, overall health, and region of the country.
But you can change that. Another recent study, this one by the National Bureau of Economic Research, found seniors who move to certain locations in retirement could add or take off years from their lives. The study found moving to a higher rated area after age 65 could lengthen someone's life by more than a year.
The 5 best rated areas are all in New York and Florida, with Yonkers, New York taking the cake, increasing lifespan an estimated 1.26 years. And moving to Lake Charles, Louisiana could actually shorten an average senior's life the most by 9 months.
Some big cities like Las Vegas and Salt Lake City also make the list for the lowering life expectancy. Monsoon storms creeping back up on the valley. Will you need an umbrella the rest of the week and into the weekend? The answer when Cronkite News returns.
Cronkite Noticias is the Spanish-speaking division of Cronkite News, covering topics such as economics, education, sustainability, immigration, and border relations. Cronkite Noticias strives to serve the Spanish-speaking community in Arizona. Under the guidance of prominent Spanish-speaking professionals, students at the Wiltjer Cronkite School of Journalism develop content for our broadcast partner, Univision, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. Explore Cronkite Noticias at cronkitenoticias.azpbs.org.
Stay in the know on the go. At Cronkite News, we work hard to report the facts and keep you updated, whether we're on set or on the scene.
Taking it from the studio to the field. So I'm here in South Phoenix.
In Phoenix, we're just a click away. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Several wildfires are burning across the state tonight. The museum fire in Flagstaff is now 91% contained. It burned through nearly 2,000 acres. And right now there's a risk of post-fire flooding if monsoon storms strike over the weekend. This is what the blaze looked like right before the last rain hit in Arizona. And this is what it looks like now. You can see the side of the mountain is burned, but there's no active fire. And finally, an incredible image of a helicopter taking off during the storms earlier this week. The rain really helped calm the fire down.
Speaking of the monsoon, check out this video taken by one of our producers earlier this week, showing the heavy rain, strong winds, and dust making driving conditions very difficult. If it ever gets to where you can barely see in front of you, experts say pull off the road and turn your lights off. And remember, the next time the storms strike, share your photos and videos with us using the hashtag Monsoon2019.
You know, I really do love the monsoon because it really cools down the valley, but the one thing that I don't like is how humid it is.
I couldn't agree with you more, Sabina. Bain, do we have any monsoons headed our way?
Sabina, I agree too. The humidity is not my friend, it's not my friend to my hair either, as you can see. But the good news is there's no rain coming up in the next coming week as of right now. So let's take a look at our temperatures. Currently about 102 here in Phoenix. If we take a look down south in Tucson, about 98 degrees is what they're feeling right now. Taking a look up in the north around Page, 94 degrees for them and 77 degrees in Flagstaff. In Phoenix, though, we're going to be cooling down to double digits once again later tonight. By 7 o'clock, we're expecting 99 degrees. And then by 10, we're expecting that to go down to 95. We're going to be seeing some clouds throughout the night, but that's going to be cleared up up tomorrow with sunshine throughout the entire weekend. We're expecting some clouds on Sunday with a high of 110, but that's not going to be our highest temperature of the week. Our highest temperature of the week is going to be 112 on Monday. We're expecting clouds on Monday and Tuesday, but that's going to be cleared up by Wednesday. Live in the Weather Center, I'm Bane Froney, Cronkite News.
Despite the dusty desert we get during Arizona summers, at night when the sky clears up, you'll be able to see something pretty amazing. You can actually see the planets. That's because monsoon thunderstorms help clear the air. The evening skies in August reveal two major planets, Jupiter and Saturn. Jupiter shows up bright in the sunset sky, and you might even be able to spot some of its moons. And Saturn is also amazing because you can actually see Saturn's rings through some small telescopes.
Up next, Devils in the Desert. We'll show you what 3 Cardinals players have in common besides representing Big Red.
Welcome to another edition of Cronkite Sports Now. I'm Taylor Rocha. Let's talk sports.
For the latest on local sports and beyond, we've got you covered.
Let's do this thing.
We challenge reporters to go beyond, a game story. We want stories with depth.
It's just a crucial step from the college experience into the professional experience while you're still in school.
At Cronkite Sports Now, watch the journalists of tomorrow cover sports today.
With wildfires, a scarcity of water, and other environmental issues facing the Earth today, it's critical to stay up to date with local impacts of a changing climate. That's why we created Elemental, covering sustainability, a multimedia collaboration between public television and radio stations. From climate change to water conservation to renewable energy and much more, Elemental covers the latest in sustainability news. Find our stories on our website, elementalreports.com.
On the next Arizona Horizon, a corporation commissioner explains why it's time for competition among electricity providers and why Arizona tourism is at a record high. Those stories on the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff on the next News Hour. How Georgetown University is paying reparations for its slave-holding past. That's Thursday on the PBS News Hour.
Terrell Suggs, DJ Foster, and Zane Gonzalez are all currently Cardinals. However, they all share a similar route to the NFL that had a stop in Tempe beforehand. Take a look.
Getting intense, it's starting to pick up. The normal training camp energy, so it's exciting to get back out there.
The Arizona Cardinals continued training camp yesterday, and among those taking the field were 3 former Arizona State Sun Devils. Running back DJ Foster, an Arizona native and Saguaro High School alum, will be given an opportunity to play for his hometown, an experience he considers a blessing.
Oh, it's incredible. I went to high school, college, and now coming back for the professional. It's such a blessing to be able to be a part of this community for so long and being able to see different people on my journey. So it's amazing to still be able to go back to ASU, being able to go back to Saguaro, went to high school, and just still be in touch with so many people and great coaches and teammates, friends, and family.
Along with Foster, ASU alum and kicker Zane Gonzalez will start as the Cardinals' place kicker to begin the season. Gonzalez is looking forward to all of the newly acquired young talent heading into his second year with the team.
The culture's been amazing. We got a whole lot of new players, new coaching staff. Atmosphere is amazing, and I think it's really competitive.
Foster and Gonzalez are joined by ASU and Hamilton High School alum Terrell Suggs.
I know he's excited to be home. He's an Arizona guy as well, so it's awesome to watch him move around. I think year 16, 17. To watch him still have that energy is it's incredible. I'm on year 4 and I'm limping, and I see this guy flying around. So it's fun to watch him go out there and have that energy, and you see why he's a Hall of Fame player.
The Cardinals continue to prepare for their first preseason game against the Los Angeles Chargers at 7 p.m. on August 8th. In Glendale, Gabriel Moreno, Cronkite News. With their young new roster, the Cardinals will look to improve from last season's 3-13 record.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
I'm Chef Mark Charbel. Join me for a brand new episode of Check Please Arizona. This week, our guests have dined all over the valley. At the Farm Kitchen in Phoenix, Udupi Indian Vegetarian and Vegan Cuisine in Tempe, and in Goodyear, Dino's Greek and Italian Grill. Don't miss Check Please Arizona.
Tonight at 7:30 on Arizona PBS.
I want to do something with my life. I want to climb mountains. Hello, Louise. You play beautifully this evening.
Thank you.
You ever thought about the Himalayas? Everest.
I'm not sure I want you to go away again.
If Everest is to be climbed, Hillary needs to be there. Tenzing and I will head for the summit. I had a dream, and it came true.
Tonight at 9 on Arizona PBS. Explore new ideas and new worlds here on Arizona PBS, a community service of Arizona State University.
See this playset? There used to be a pickup truck sitting there, a truck I didn't use and didn't want. So I donated it to public television, and they took care of everything. In addition to supporting my favorite programs, I earned a tax deduction. Turn something you don't need into something you really want. Contact the Vehicle Donation Program.
Coming up next on Arizona PBS, Life and World.